So we can start with this. First thing is, let's talk about why MBA, why other things. So first, try to understand what are the impact of COVID and what is the road ahead. COVID has already, accelerated the targets that was initially planned by the Chinese government or US government or the Indian government. That by 2030, the online business will be at a particular target. So they assume that, the educational institution, the school, colleges, the education will be moving online. Most of the people will be working from their home, and most of the work that will be doing, because there are a lot of pressure also from the international bodies to control the pollution, to control the carbon emission. So whatever the target that the government has taken for year 2030, trust me, because of this COVID, it is already achieved in 2020, and that too is just within a month. So in last 1 month, in the month of April only, whatever they have decided for 2030, if you go through all of the publication, if you go through the government, target for a decade, you'll find all of them are almost achieved in last 1 month. So how these are possible? Because, we humans are very adaptable. So we adapted to the new reality that going out is not the solution. To earn your livelihood, you can do it from your place. You can work from here. Many of the services you can avail at your place. There are countries like US where most of the things are given online, and they're using drone to provide the services. Of course, the India is suffering because so far the government has not given them permission. But trust me, if this prolong for some time, those licenses will be also given very soon. One thing that the government almost across world, the government have analyzed is that they need to work on their health system. Some of the best health system that world has is of Italy, France, Germany, America. But even they are also talking about upgrading it, because they are saying that what are the chances that it will not happen in the future. So the health system jobs will also change drastically. Some of you may be feeling, we have registered ourselves for the MBA. Why you are talking about the health system? If you look at the health system today, it is in India, if you see, mostly it is governed by the government hospitals. Most of the people who are below poverty line or people who are even ABL, they also go there. And very less, segment of the society which belongs to upper middle class or higher class society, they are the only one who are approaching for the private services. But because of this complication, because of this health hazardous situation, I think more and more companies are going to move to the health system. I'm sure that all of you have watched the advertisement of some of the health service provider, insurance provider, where they say, what if you will not remain tomorrow? So if we look at this, the businesses in the health segment has shoot up like anything. The people who have taken their insurance, most of them have increased it by 40 to 50%. So I think one new place which is going to open is the health sector now. Okay. This is the data which is published by Niti Aayog. This is all India's data. Niti Aayog says the people who are involved in IT sector, or the people who are working in the IT companies, and the people who are MBAs, they are taking care of the marketing, finances, HR. 90% of them are working from their home. That shows that only 10% of the people are not able to provide their services. Rest of 90% of the people are safe, they are working, they are earning their livelihood. While if you talk about a normal graduate, while if you talk about the people who are just 10th class pass, or people who are just 12th class pass, or they are involved in, for example, someone is office assistant, or someone who is doing a work, for example, a cook, or people who are providing the restaurant services, or the people who are into the home delivery. It is only the 10% of them that they are able to provide their services. So if Zomato has 10,000 people working for it, today it is not more than 1,000 people who are able to provide the services. So you can understand that people who are literate, people who are MBAs, people who are engineer working with the IT sector, working on things which are innovative, which does not require a workspace, they are still able to function. And that is the reason why the nature of the job has changed drastically. And these are the two sectors which are able to change themselves quickly. If I still remember 2-3 months back, I was talking to one of my relatives and I was saying that how come you are not coming back to Delhi, because his office in Delhi and he was working from Dehradun. He said, brother, I'm working from home. So I asked him, for last 3 months you have not visited Delhi, how you're working from home? He said, I'm working for a US company and I'm taking care of their IT services. It is a health-based company. And it is quite possible, because whatever the job I'm supposed to do, whether I do it from my home or I come to the office and do it from there, I think it is same. So the remote work, which was very, very abnormal earlier, has become very normal. For example, in 2001, 2002, when I used to take sessions, so we used to, book one hall of FICCI. So that is in, Baba Khadak Singh Marg, which is in Crot Place, or Federation House we used to block. And for that, we have to take permission from various departments. We have to take permission from Delhi Police. We have to take also permission from the Fire Brigade that, around 2,000 people are planning to visit. And even every year when we are conducting session at PSD House, we have to complete all those formalities. But today, I can take a webinar, I can take a seminar sitting at my place, and all of you are able to grab it as well. So remote working is very, very normal now, and trust me, it is going to stay for a very long period. Now, there are 3 things that people are predicting, especially if you see the international agencies. Some of the top companies, CEOs, CXOs come and they talk about the people who are able to use the technology, the people who are able to manage finances. So even if you're an HR guy, even if you're a marketing guy, and you don't know what is the financial implication of taking a project, trust me, you're not going to survive in the next era. So you should be good in knowing technology. Along with that, whatever thing you are going to offer, finances are also very, very important for you, how to use the financial services. And the new era communication. If 10 years, 15 years, 20 years back, if someone wants to form a relation, he has to visit the person personally and exchanging the gift and then saying that we would like to work with you in the future. Today that is not possible. Today you are going to communicate with your client over the laptop. There will be a screen in front of you and you are going to talk to that person. So I hope you can understand that the impact of COVID has changed the way we were doing our businesses. So everyone is saying, almost all top business corporate people are saying that the future employees should know how to use the technology. They should be good in finances and they would be adapting to the new era communication. Along with that, the preventive health and public health care will be the new businesses. So as I said, it is no more doctors, it is no more nurses only. There are a lot of businesses which is going to happen. People are going to purchase the policies. People are looking for the option when if they got infected from the same type of viruses, they should have taken such type of services where they can get these medicine on quick basis. So what are the other things? Bajaj, which is in the Bajaj motorbikes and all these manufacturing, they were saying that this is the first ever time that we are questioning our business model. What happens if this thing persists or this thing will become a recurring? Will we be able to survive with our existing business model? And they are saying no. So most of the business houses, most of the corporates are questioning themselves and they are trying to find out some business model through which they will be able to sustain. And of course, it is only through the COVID that people are able to see what are the changes that would be required in the businesses. How many people, once the things will be normal, when the COVID will get over, when we will have vaccination available, when we'll say we can roam around as easily as in the month of February. So the employer are also talking about that how many people are going to walk back to the office. So if there are 1,000 people, maybe I'm cutting my cost and saying only 100 of the people will be visiting offices. And rest of the 900 will continue working from their places. So what was very, very, abnormal earlier, we know that in future it is going to be very, very normal. So it is no more offices, physical offices, which is required to join a company. And how many employees are there which will be recruited on the basis of the output basis? Means that, for example, tomorrow if I want to, hire one of my marketing manager, the first thing that I will ask him, what are the revenues that you are planning to bring into the company? And he says that I'm going to bring in a revenue of 1 crore. So I will ask him that this is the fixed salary that I will pay you. And the rest of the salary will be completely based on the business output that you are going to bring in. So I hope you can understand that now employees don't want to continue with a lot of fixed costs. They are planning to cut down on the fixed costs. The FICCI, the CI, all these have already talked to the government that please make the labor laws little more flexible. Otherwise, we will not be able to sustain. So most of them are going to be on the fixed plus variable cost. So what you are going to get as a business, what the companies are going to get as a business, some part of that will be paid as a variable, say, yes, some part of that will be the fixed salary. Now, the other thing is how many people are ready to reskill themselves. And the other thing is that the employers are also worried that what are the qualities that they need to look into the new hiring. So for example, being an HR manager, if I'm asked by my company that you need to hire these guys, so the first thing that I'll be worried about is that how he is going to enhance the businesses, even in the processes, even in the situation when such type of lockdown type of situation will come in the future. I'm talking about these things when the things will be normal. For example, even today, if the company wants to hire some people, they must have some fixed agenda that every year we want to hire 1,000 people. Say, for example, Reliance or Aditya Birla say that every year we hire 120 people from the B school. Now, when I'm going to hire these guys as an HR guy, I'll be always looking at the qualities that are these people adaptable to the change situation. So whatever they have studied in their B school, some part of that is relevant for me today as an employer. But trust me, there's some part which is not important for me. So what I need to see is, are these guys able to work from their places? Are they able to bring the businesses by bringing the people on the online meeting and then convincing them and finally get the business? So I hope you can understand that HR policies are going to change drastically. The way HR has been working, trust me, that is also going to change. Now, TCS, last week I had a session with one of the engineering colleges where more than 2,000 to 3,000 people were supposed to attend a webinar, and we were supposed to tell them about the MBA as a career option. At the last moment, we got a notice from them, and they said that TCS wants to talk to our second year and third year student about the future placements. And I was worried, how come TCS is so much worried about the pre-placement talk now when it is a COVID? They are saying reason is because TCS feels that it is mandatory for the people now to watch it, and we will have hardcore data that how many people have watched it, and when everyone's camera is on, we will be also able to understand that how many of them were able to see it. So if I really want to attract good employees, I have an opportunity. I want to take a lead. Why should I leave it to the whole companies? I'll hire the best guys of the engineering colleges and give them a placement letter and say, join me after 1 year, after 2 years when your engineering will get over. The other thing that TCS has announced it, I'm sure that you all must have read it in the newspaper, that 25% by 2025 means that by 2025, they will have only 25% of the employees who will be visiting office. So someone asked that, do you have people on the basis of that 25% of them will be regularly coming to the office and 75% of them will not come to the office? They said, no, we want it to be on rotation basis. Try to understand it. For example, 100 employees are working on a project. So I want 20 people to visit one day. So if 20-25 people are visiting one day, I want the next day the other 25 people come. So maybe 5-10 people are fixed who are visiting office every day. but 10, 15 to 20 people will change every day. So being an employee, I may be visiting the company only once in a week. So whatever the companies are paying me, I'll be comfortable. Why? Because my money will be saved in commutation. Now everyone is talking about the blended model in business, and almost they are saying that we want a online plus offline business models, where some part of the business will be done online and some part of that will be done offline. I shared one of my example. Today only I was watching news in that one of the state chief ministers said that people, because I'm sure that in the last 2 days there are long lines in front of the liquor shops. Now the chief minister says we will charge some extra amount from you, but we are going to provide all these services at your place. Now you look at this, there's one more business opportunity that they have added. There's one more way through which they are able to employ more number of people, as well as their revenue will be also going up. So the blended business model will be the new mantra. I was listening to Warren Buffett around 2-3 years back. He was asked that Amazon is doing so well, and do you think that the businesses, brick and mortar business will shut down in the future? So he said, no, I don't think it will shut down. But yes, I could understand that we could not see the future. When people were moving online, we were thinking that, okay, this will also work, this will work. So we were lingering on because we never found a model where we can give a competition to the Amazon. Now, if you look at Warren Buffett, he decided when the world was divided between online and offline businesses, he looked at India as one of the consumer economy. It is we are the one who consume a lot. We are not producing that much. So they said, why not to hire a company which is existing in India and doing very well? Flipkart was almost 10 times of Amazon when they took over Flipkart. And through that, they are able to establish, they are going to copy the Flipkart model from India to US. And they are saying in future, we are going to give them the challenges. Similarly, when you look at the Amazon, which is delivering online, they have formed the new offices, new shops, which are brick and mortar. For example, Amazon Go is one of the concepts that they came up. They said, I want to do something new. I want to sell it also in the mall, because many of the people are interested in coming to the mall and then purchasing. But the time that they're wasting in paying the money is too hard. So they came up with a project which is Amazon Go. What they are saying is, they are saying you purchase anything and then you leave. Your app is connected with the cameras which are there, and whatever you pick up, we will deduct that much money from your account. So I hope you can understand that the business model cannot be only online or it cannot be offline. It will be all blended model. And of course, it is going to give you the huge boost to the gig economy. What is gig economy? For example, I'm a graphic designer. Now I have two options. I join a company and work for an employer. The second option is that I form a team of 5-7 guys and I say, see, I'm not going to work for you. I'm going to work for 10 different companies. That is gig economy. If you see, India, Bangladesh, Pakistan has been doing very well. Philippines, where the people are not only working for one organization, they are working for the multiple organization. They carry some special skill through which they are, able to grab more businesses. The workplace will be more global. So now it is already seen that many of the low-level jobs are acquired by Bangladeshis and Indians, where they are taking a small project. For example, there are so many students in universities who want someone to write the answers or a project report for a particular thing. So it is Indians, Bangladeshis, Sri Lankans who are going to write them the project. So these type of jobs are also going to move here. So even at sitting at home, people are taking care of the global jobs. Low productive jobs, especially IT services, processes jobs will be outsourced to the emerging markets like India, Vietnam, Asians. All these countries, you'll be finding more and more job will shift. The biggest disruption will happen with the supply chain. There's no doubt we are living for the last 5-6 years. Everyone is talking about that we are living in an economy which is very, very disruptive. Whatever was normal has suddenly become abnormal. the supply chain is one of the things which will be really disruptive. As I discussed earlier, Amazon may not be hiring the same number of people now. Maybe the day it will get a license, it will replace all the human beings who are low skilled employees with the drones. So the supply chain will be definitely going to hurt because of this. We have seen that the center of the supply chain of this world is China. And there are companies which are planning to go for 1+1 country location, where they are saying, we don't want to restrain ourselves to one country. Reason is they have already seen it in COVID period that if one country shut down, it is across world their businesses get hampered. So what now most of the companies are talking about, they are talking about the multiple location or at least 1+1 country location, where the India is certainly going to get the benefit because the type of population that we have, the English speaking population that we have, the skill set that Indians are able to adapt. I don't think any country is as good as we Indians are there. There are few, guys from few economists, the corporate guys sitting at the top position. They are saying that India can only adopt these changes if they are able to attract more talent. So for example, I know the company required 20,000 people to work, but there's a top management, there are middle management guys that will be requiring. It may be possible that if I'm planning to sell something in Israel, the workforce that I have, the management that I have will be incapable of doing it. So what most of the top business oncos are saying, they are saying, why don't you attract more talent from other countries? So there was a time when we were talking about exporting. Brain drain is one of the common word which was very common in 1990s and 2000, where we were saying the best brains of India are moving out. Now the top business guys are saying you need to take the best talent of the world in your country if you really want to grow, and you need good money, and that is only possible if the talent is there, the infrastructure is there. That is also the reason few days back the infrastructure minister Nitin Gadkari has also said that we are planning to increase our infrastructure work by 5 times. So whatever we were doing, we want to increase it to 5 times. So why? Because they know that when the companies decide to invest in our country, they want to see also our infrastructure preparation. So because of that preparedness, they are expecting that the companies will be coming there, and that is the reason why the government is also planning to invest more. I'm sure that all of you have heard it also, and the government has already announced there are a lot of laborers. Many people who are there in Maharashtra, Gujarat, Delhi, they want to go back to their hometown. And it is expected that these guys are not going to come before 2 years back to the cities. Now, when these people are in the villages, how the government can utilize them? The government cannot leave them, on their own without any food, without any basic income. So the government has already planned that under Manrega, the number of days for which they can work for the rural guarantee work will be high, and the people who have joined from the cities to villages, they will be also getting the work under that. So I hope you can understand it. So a lot of people, when migrating to those places, we are also looking for the technology to compensate these people. Now, if you look at this, there are emerging economies, there are developed economies. The line between these two is going to now lessen. There was a time when these two worlds are considered as poles apart. But today we are getting closer to each other. Reason is, with a low infrastructure also we can deliver. So a lot of responsibility come on the communication companies, a lot of responsibilities come on the telecom companies. So I think the way we have been doing business will change completely, and a lot of support will be from the IT and from the telecom companies, through which the economies can grow themselves. Of course, the globalization is localization because of this IT thing, because of the internet, because of the online businesses. It is quite possible. Now coming to the why MBA during this, I share a very, as I'm reading a lot of articles, this is which is very interesting. The first time when Fortune 500 company list was found, the average life expectancy of Fortune 500 companies. I'm not talking about a local company. I'm not talking about small company opened by 1-2 guys. I'm talking about Fortune 500 company. Their life expectancy was around 66, 67 years. In 2019, with the latest data, it is coming down to 44 years. Post-COVID, there are companies which are saying that it is going to reduce to 20 to 25 years. Now, this is the responsibility of a person to understand whether you want to work for a company or you want to work for a sector, or you want to, gain some knowledge, some skill through which you can continue in your career. So I hope you can understand. I was talking to one guy who's a very senior guy and working in a company as a CFO. I asked him, what are the situations that you have seen? He said, I've seen 2-3 recessions in my life. There was a time, the way I was doing business when I started my life just after BE school at the age of 25, that has changed completely now. How that has changed completely now? We were not having much of the resources like online things. Most of our businesses were brick and mortar business. But today, I cannot work without my laptop. I cannot work online because online things are really important for me. So I have learned in between this period. But these people need to reskill again. Why? Reason is because this COVID has changed everything. The way your consumer was behaving 2 months back, his behavior had changed completely. So you need to prepare yourself, and trust me, you are belonging to a new era. You and a person with the experience of 25-30 years will be at the same position. Yes, he has experience. He has little bit lead from you. But trust me, you are the people who are going to decide the future of this whole world. And that is because you are starting from the problem. You are starting with a new crisis that people have not seen earlier. As I said earlier, the skill set that you acquire, for example, if you are working as a marketing manager in a company, and after working for 2 and 3 years, you feel you are a very nice guy in marketing, you hire 4 or 5 guys, start your marketing company. And you are saying, see, you are selling soap. You talk to 5-6 companies which are selling their soap, and you are helping them to, chase their targets. So you're not working for one company, you're working for 5 soap manufacturing companies and helping all these 5 companies to grow in their business. That is what will be the new mantra for the MBAs. There's a man, his name is Sunil Munjal. He has a university, Munjal family, I'm sure that all of you know, the one who owns Hero Group. So few days back, we were having interaction where he was saying we have a university in Gurgaon. And there are many companies which are approaching us and they're talking about that can you prepare people with a special skill set so that they will bring businesses to us. So now where the industry will go, industry is moving towards the university. They are saying, what is the situation? Can you give me the people who are able to handle these situations in the future? So now it is integration of industry and universities through which they are going to improve on their businesses. As I have already said, India is going to benefit a lot when there will be every company is talking about 1+1 country location. This will be false if people are predicting that Chinese, all of the companies will stop their operation from China and move to India. I don't think that many good chances are there. I would see that yes, all these companies will be also starting their company in India, or maybe to some other company, some other country. So now the global companies are moving to this one. When there are more number of the businesses which are coming to India, of course, we'll be requiring more number of managers. And for that, MBA would be one of the most feasible things. E-commerce is flourishing. There's no doubt about it. But as I said earlier, the low-level jobs will be wiped out very soon. I'm sure all of you know driverless cars. Think about it. After COVID, if most of the people who were working as a driver, if they're moving back to their hometown, don't you think that it will be easy for the company to launch driverless car? Okay, I give you one example. I'm using Ola, and tomorrow I want to go to my office. I have 2 options. One, with a driver, with a human who is sitting there and going to take me to that place. The second one is there is a driverless car. I enter where I want to visit. I think I will be comfortable. And second one, why should I get infected? So you need to understand in the long run, the companies have been preparing for it. Suddenly, this has been accelerated. That's the only difference. So, which was supposed to happen in 2030, we had 10 to 15 years of doing that business. Sorry, all that has been preponed. And if you are not going to change, I don't think with the existing set of the businesses, we will be able to survive. So the cost structure, operational structure, and reporting structure is that almost every company is talking. Every company is concerned about their cost structure. They want to divide the cost in such a way so that there will be less losses and higher profit. They're also talking about their operational structure. Why to hire 100 people when 10 of them can work? And they're also talking about the real reporting structure. Why reporting structure? If you have 1,000 people, you need to put in so many managers between them. But what if the machines are working? What if the cost structure has been managed with the operational structure, and the reporting structure can be changed in such a way that rather than a pyramidal structure, it can be a web-based structure. So maybe I'm working in a marketing, but my boss can be also from finance. I will have 3 more people whom I'm going to report. I'm going to submit my report, which is also talking about the financial implication of the project. I can also talking about how it is going to help my company to improve in the marketing thing. I can also see how the HR is going to, how the human resources can be controlled, and it will have a better structure. So these 3 things can be only possible if someone has studied management, and that is only possible if someone is an MBA. I'm, reading it almost everywhere. Everyone is talking about the same 3 words, and they have been talking it since Industry 4.0, that it is learning, unlearning, and reskilling. The guys who are moving to the colleges now, for them, there's no learning, there's no unlearning, there's reskilling. There is altogether a new thing is a new world has opened, which no one have analyzed earlier. These guys are going to study from zero of this new world. So there will be no unlearning, there's no reskilling, there will be only one thing, that is learning, 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 learning. Understand a point. I was also debating a few days back with one of my students. There are 2 guys. One is at the age of 55. He is a very senior guy, maybe general manager or VP of a company. And there's a fresh guy who just come out from a B school. Now this guy who is having very good experience, he's in his 50s. Maybe after 4 or 5 years he will retire. If I ask him to reskill himself, trust me, the chances are very low. But if I tell a guy that yes, you need to do these businesses, because he has already seen a world where the humans are not touching each other, when he knows it is not necessary to do a marketing, that I need to visit someone's place, I have to take an appointment, I just fix up an appointment and do a webinar at night. So a guy with the age of 23, 24 will be more feasible than a 55-year-old man or 40-year-old man and telling him to reskill himself. And of course, there was a time when the government was promoting that, yes, if you're good, you should go for entrepreneurship. Trust me, in the new era, without entrepreneurship, people will not be able to survive. Because the jobs that will be requiring, that will require altogether a new blood. And that is only possible if the guy with the new skills are going to start it. So people who are going ahead with the MBAs, I know many of them after 2 years, 3 years of their working, when they will be earning good money, they will move on to the entrepreneurship. Why? Because they know about all these skills and they will be able to survive. So CAT 2020, of course, this is a greatest opportunity for you. What you will learn will follow that in future. So you are the first one who is going to know how to live in an era, how to do businesses at a time when you are not going to interact with the people. You will be the person who will know that if you cannot watch a match in a stadium, but still you can see how the cricket match can happen. You have already seen many of the people are coming with the advertisement, many of the players are coming with the advertisement where they are pitching online games. So you are the one who are going to start with all these things. And after that, the new generation which will come after you, they are the one who will be following you. The other beauty is whenever these all disruptions happen, the people who are very experienced, they move to the colleges. They say, whatever I have learned for 25 years, I'm going to inculcate that to the new guys. With the help of technology, with the help of new knowledge, they are going to integrate it and present a better results. So the best guys, industry guys, will be going to move to the colleges. If you're not going for MBA, then what? Sir, will there be any losses? Yes. If you're looking for placement, trust me, the chances of placement will be very low. And it is expected that next 2-3 years, the similar situation will happen. Now think about it. If there will be no placement happen this year, again next year there is no placement. In third year, if there is a placement, don't you think that the people who have not got placement in 3 years, because every year new people join the workforce, that will get thrice. The competition that I will get will be much higher. Of course, this will be good for the organizations. But don't you think that whole economy will suffer because of that? So the period when people are waiting for the jobs, I think it is better that people should move ahead with the new degrees, with the new knowledge, with the new skill set. As I said, even if you want to pursue your MBA in marketing, finance, and HR, but you should know how to work from your home. So that is altogether a new set. You should know how to manage your human resources by sitting at your home. You should know how to prepare their salary, how to fire people on the online basis interview. You should know how to filter out the resume. If 2,000 people applied for 5 posts, how to filter out these people. You need technology. So you need to understand, we need to adopt. That is what I'm repeatedly saying. And of course, as I said, that the most of the entrepreneur, the future entrepreneur will be one who will be passing out from the colleges in the next 2-3 years. There is a lot of career progression now. This is the general thing. You'll find that by the age of 22, 23, a person pass out from an MBA college, whether studied marketing, finance, HR, operation. Next 6-7 years, the person continue in the junior management level where there is a functional role. Then it is a middle management where you are working in a cross-functional area. As I have already told, but post-COVID, I don't think that the junior management will also include the cross-functional experience. So you may be working with a multiple department, you may be working with the different sectors, and then you move to the senior management where you are heading a function or division or a one particular division of a company. And finally, you become the head of the company, you become CXO of the company. The beauty of MBA is today, if someone is working as a marketing guy or a finance guy in one of the company which may be related to the real estate, tomorrow he can easily move on to the next sector. He can go to the pharma, he can go to the hospitality, he can go to the hospital management. I think that flexibility, that versatility is nowhere else. See, but we need to also mention what are the salaries. Let me share CAT 2019, 2019 MBA pass out data. You will find that the fees was really high, 19 lakh. But if you look at the placement, and this is only for the placement for 1 year, while you are going to work for next 35, 40 years of your life on the basis of this degree. The placement scenario is really very good. Post-COVID as well, I don't think that there will be any impact over it, because on a population of 1.3 billion, I see, because it's better to share data. And I assume that every college is taking 300 students. Even if there are 50 colleges, if you are able to make it to the 50 college, 300 into 50 is coming out to be 15,000. So out of 1.3 billion population, even if you make it among the top 50 colleges, you are among the 15,000 students. That's why the MBA will be always in demand, because still a lot of it, the percentage of the students coming into the corporate world from the MBA is very low. I'm talking about the top colleges. Some of you may be conscious about not going with the colleges which are charging high fees. Then you need to look at the colleges like XLRI, SPGen or FMS. FMS is one of the finest college. Only under 1 lakh you will get your degree, and the placement is somewhere around 20 lakh plus. Along IIFT Delhi, IIT Bombay, Jamnalal Bajaj, TES, NITI are the colleges which are also charging very low fees. With that low fees, they are also giving you very good placement. IIT Delhi, IIT Kharagpur, ISC, these are the colleges which are again able to give you high placement with the low fees. But I don't mind even if you are paying 21 lakh and getting a salary of 16, 17 lakhs. As I told you, this is not only for 1 year, it is for the rest of your life. So it's better that you go for the top colleges get a placement from there, and then you need to perform. Similarly, for 13 to 15 lakh rupees per annum, these are some of the colleges. I'm sure that you are aware about it. Just take a glance on it. Now, one important thing, many of the people are coming and saying that, sir, we need to have a very good work experience, 3-4 years of work experience. Then only the company will be taking us. One of the college which is very much concerned about the profile is IIM Ahmedabad. So I'm going to take you to the website of IIM Ahmedabad and prove that whatever you feel and whatever is the truth are two different things. I'm sure that all of you are able to see IIM Ahmedabad website. This is all IIM Ahmedabad website. Now, if you look at the IITs, NIT, other engineering student, commerce, science, this is the division given. Now, some of you will say, how much is the work experience required? They are asking for work experience from all the diverse field, engineer, IT services, banking and finance sector, consulting, e-commerce and other sectors. Even the teachers are also joining good in number. Now look at the freshers. Even if you are a fresher, you have 39% of the people who are making it to IIM Ahmedabad, that is highest, are the one who don't have even a 1 day experience of work. And the people who have worked for 15 days or a 1 month till 1 year, 16% of the Janata are those. So 55% of the population or the students who make it to IIM Ahmedabad are those one who don't have any experience or having a maximum of 1 year experience. Similarly, you will find a weightage is given to also those guys who have some work experience of 1 to 2 years, and even 2 to 3 years of experience is considered a good one. But the moment you cross 3 years, they're not interested in you, because they feel that it's difficult to change a student who already worked with the industry for 3 years. So don't take that risk where you feel, no, if I'm not able to make it this year, I'm having 1 year experience, I'll try it next year. Your chances are going to decrease drastically. Once you cross 3 years, trust me, I don't think that the colleges will be interested in taking you. Now, sometimes the engineers are coming to us and saying, our chances are lesser than a BCom guy. See, you need to understand that the eligibility criteria is very, very clear, that if you are an engineer, you require a more percentage marks, because most of the engineers are among the top list. The non-engineers are also, we are giving them some benefit, the colleges are giving them some benefit of 5 to 10 percentile. But whenever you are sitting in front of the panel, both of you are alike. I don't mind that even if not even a single guy got selected from the commerce background or from humanities background. Or maybe I'm not going to select even a single guy from engineering background. I don't think any one of them is feasible. So the moment when you come for the interview, what matters is what are the skill set that you have and are you employable? No college wants that their college will be publishing that 98% of the placement. They always say 100% of the placement. So if I'm taking an interview and you are sitting in front of me and I feel that no company will be going to take you, sorry, I will not take you. So there's a basic education qualification which is required, but beyond that, how you perform there in the interview is really very important. The first shortlist, that is for the interview shortlist, there are two things which are required. One is test score, your CAT, XAT, IFT tests, all these scores are very important. Second is your profile do play a role. Means how you have performed in class 10, 12th gradation. But yes, the weightage is different. At some places, it is only your initial entrance examination CAT score, which is important. At some places, there may be the test score weightage is not 100%, it may be 50, 60, 70%. And I will be giving also weightage to the other profile. When I take you in the final, when I finally select you, I will also consider the personal interview score as well as your VAT ability score. Now, these are few of the colleges. Sometimes people do ask me, sir, I'm doing very good in quant and LR, but I'm not good in English. Or I'm good in verbal ability and logical reasoning, but I'm not good in quantitative ability. Should I continue my preparation? My dear, I just want to convey one thing. If you are not good in all the three things, the good colleges are not going to take you, because all of them are asking for sectional cutoff. So if you want to make it FMS, 100% weightage is given to the CAT. XLRI 100% weightage, XLRI HR 100% of the weightage, If you look at IIM Ahmedabad, 70% of your weightage will be given to your test score. So people who feel, no, why should I prepare for CAT? My profile is very good. What will you do with the profile if you are not going to score high in CAT exam? So you can see other colleges as well. Most of them are asking for sectional cutoff. IIT Bombay, Jamnalal Bajaj and TESA not asking for it, because IIT Bombay, even if you score low in verbal ability, then also giving preference to you, because maths is one of the important criteria. Now, what all areas are going to be asked in the exam? If we look at it, usually it is 4 topics which are going to be asked. They want to test whether you are a 10th class pass or not. Why I'm saying so? Because the maths up to class 10th will be asked. Verbal ability up to class 10th will be asked. Logical reasoning and data interpretation is asked because they want to check, are you logically sound? Or even for that reason, they are interested in knowing about the data interpretation. I hope it is clear. See, because they want you to be good in data. If you are not able to interpret data, how would you, chase your targets? So data is one thing which is really very important. If you look at that, they're also very much interested about awareness about your surrounding. So they want to know about what is the, how much you know about the geographical condition of India. They are also very much interested in knowing about the economic condition of the world, India, or any of the neighboring country. And there's a decision making also going to be asked. Similarly, for other examination, you can see MyCAT is also going to test you on psychometric test. They feel if you are not psychologically strong, if you cannot take your decision at a faster pace, and that too is correct, you have no right to join an MBA college, because a lot of things are dependent on you. Because when you head, when you lead, a leadership requires ability to take a decision. And if you are not able to take almost right decision, you don't deserve to be a manager. You don't deserve to be a leader. Now, how is this format that we are going to do? We are going to give you online classes with a live doubt clearing classes. So whatever the doubts you have, usually we try to finish the doubts as early as possible within 3 to 4 hours. So whatever the doubts are there, you can send those doubts on the WhatsApp. We are going to take the doubts there only. And there are regular doubt clearing class as well. In the live online classes, the number of students will also not be very high. It is around 20 to 30 students will be attending the classes. So we are not going to show you the cricket match where the 5,300, 500 people are watching and you cannot ask your doubts. We will be recognizing each and every student and also seeing how they are going to perform. And the best teachers of the industries are going to teach you. Along with that, the average experience of the teacher that we have is coming out to be somewhere around 12 years of experience. So the test analysis will be also there, the regular test analysis. There's one thing which I find is very common between war and writing and entrance examination, that you need to know that how to use your skill, your weapon during the test time or during the war time. So for that, you need to prepare every day. You need to do the war drill every day. And that is only possible if you are writing a test and analyzing it and seeing what are the strategies that you have applied and where you have failed. So I think the program that we are going to give you will be helping you to clear this with the right analysis, with the strategy and planning. And of course, there are going to be the GK classes for which you will be prepared for the PI and the VAT section as well. These are few of the things we are going to cover, all of your fundamentals. Along with that, we have an aspiration account, which is integrated with the artificial intelligence, and it keeps on telling us that how the students are doing. Once a student is completing 5 mock, it will be giving us the detail that this guy is good in all things. If he is going to do this particular thing, what will be his percentile? So I know, being a faculty, it is difficult for me to take care of my 50 to 100 students and seeing their performance. It is so much easier for a machine to keep all record and tell me that your student is doing good in 5 things, but there are 3 more things where he or she needs to do good. So I think because of that thing, we are able to improve on your score. And of course, it is the mentoring which is important. Without mentoring, it is impossible for a student to clear it. Now, these are few of the results that we have. 360 students made it to IIM Ahmedabad, have got a call because final results are not yet out. 311 students got a call from IIM Bangalore. 388 NITI results are already out. 388 students made it to IIM Calcutta. 448 made it to XLRI. And all of you will be, mentored by the top faculties. As I said, it is an online program. The doubt clearing will be from morning 9 to 11 p.m. There is a one-to-one faculty interface that you can also do. A dedicated mentor for you will be also assigned, whom you are going to talk and discuss about your problems. A peer learning, you will be already going to be the part of WhatsApp group. Now in future, we'll be having a Telegram groups where you can also interact with your group members. And of course, whatever you are going to study, all of them are also recorded and shared with you so that you can watch it later as well. There are two types of batches which are available with us. One is late night batches, which is 9 to 11 on weekdays. And second is the weekend batch, which is only for the weekend students. The next batch that we are going to start is from 12th of May 2020. Now, any query, any doubts that you have, you can ask. Anything. So if you feel that you want to take registration, though there are some of our students also there, you can always get back to Akhilesh. He is the manager who is going to help you out in the process of admissions. And I'm waiting for your doubts. There's a chat window. I'm going to write hi on that. You can also ask your queries there. So any query that you have, you can also ask. Anything that you wish to ask. Yeah, sure. Yeah. Yeah, hello, Shaurya. Is there any particular doubt? No, these are online classes. Once lockdown will be over, it is all up to you in which center do you want to take it. So currently, because of lockdown, seriously, Shaurya, no one knows how long it will last. And talking about the people coming to the institute or people coming to the school or colleges, I don't think it will be going to happen very soon. So why why your career, why your study should suffer? To attend online classes later on, if you want, we can shift you to the offline classes as well. Fine. Any more query? Then also, Shaurya, this is really important. I think it's better to start early. And you attend your classes, you complete your course by 2 times. By 2021, you will be able to complete it 2 times. So Shaurya, frankly speaking, you attend the classes this year. Along with that, by next year, you will be mature enough to write the exam in a better way. Fine. Anyone else who are having any query? Thank you, Shaurya. Okay, thank you all. You can always get back to us. The numbers are already there. He is the manager. You can always get back to him and ask your queries. Thank you so much.